Chapter 1, Self-Discovery Through Awareness. It is a sobering realization when we find ourselves caught in the grip of our own achievements, measuring our worth by the accolades we've obtained and the perceptions others hold of us. For so long, I lived through the lens of what I have accomplished and what the people around me thought of me. I was driven by the relentless pursuit of excellence in both my college and professional careers. Yet, even with all the applause and admiration I was getting, I had so many dark days. I was focused on this definition of success that I inadvertently sacrificed my own well-being and neglected my family, which were the most precious aspects of my life. Once these two aspects were affected, my professional life began to suffer as well. I thought my amazing professional career was a solid foundation until I found myself increasingly unmotivated and disconnected. And yet, I just kept going. After 2 failed marriages, I finally stopped, took a deep breath, and began to look inward. Although it was a painful lesson, this was a wake-up call I needed. True success isn't measured by the external accolades, but by the depth of our relationship and the richness of our inner lives. It was this moment of reflection, and at this inflection point that I stumbled upon something interesting called the ADKAR model. That's ADKAR. An interesting thought suddenly struck me like lightning. If CEOs and leaders could leverage this model to drive transformation within complex organizations, why couldn't I apply the same principles to change my own life? The ADKAR model. The ADKAR model is a change management framework that was developed by Prasi, which is a renowned change management organization. They believe organizational change starts with individual change, and I can attest to this. Your professional life can absolutely thrive even if your personal life is not good. But make no mistake, you will hit a ceiling soon, and that might just be what breaks you. ADKAR stands for awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. Once again, that's ADKAR. Awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. These 5 elements represent the sequential steps you need to make effective and lasting change, whether in your personal lives or within organizations. We're going to break down each element throughout the book, starting with awareness. Awareness. Awareness of the need to change is the very first step. This is that moment when you realize that something needs to change. For me, it was after my second divorce, but for others, it may be when they can't get a full night's sleep anymore. Or maybe they realize they've waited too long to have kids and missed their window of time. In other words, awareness is about understanding the reasons behind the need for change, whether it's to solve a problem, improve a situation, or achieve a specific goal. What's your moment of awareness? This is an important question we all need to ask ourselves. Maybe you haven't had that moment yet, or maybe your moment will come while you read this book. But what's important right now is that you take a beat and do a bit of introspection. If you're anything like me, you always have the desire to go, go, go. Hit all the milestones, prove the naysayers wrong, and excel in everything. Well, I'll let you in on a little something. There is very little fulfillment in that. Chasing after success without pausing to reflect on what truly matters is what leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled. It's like running on a treadmill that keeps you getting faster and faster and faster. You're putting in the effort, sweating, and pushing your body to go faster. And you're exerting all that energy, but you're not actually going anywhere. At some point, something's got to give. So right now, I encourage you to pause right here and ask yourself, what truly matters to me? Is it the late nights spent at the office? Or is it the quality time you could be spending with your family? Is it the number in your bank account? Or is it being able to teach your class every day and enrich your kids' lives? Now, let me clarify on this last point. I believe teachers should be paid way more than the government gives us right now. Our classrooms deserve all the supplies and to be a healthy environment that is conducive to effective teaching and learning. The point I'm getting to is, where will you find your happy? What is it located in? As you reflect on these questions, I believe the desire to change will begin to bubble up within your soul, but it all starts with the moment of awareness, understanding the need for change. Several things in life are inevitable, and change is somewhere at the top of that list. That moment you realize something deep within needs to shift, that's where true change begins. I've shared how my wake-up call was going through a second divorce while I was busy collecting all my amazing career milestones. I came across very interesting and concerning statistics that put things in further perspective. The first statistic is that almost 41% of first marriages end in divorce. Guess what? This figure jumps to 60% for second marriages and a staggering 73% for third marriages. We can interpret this to mean that more marriages you have under your belt, the higher chance of divorce. This doesn't make sense though. Logic dictates that the more that we do something, the better we should become at it because we have the awareness of what we need to do differently, right? How many nights have you lied awake dreading to go to work the next day? How many of your child's firsts or milestones have you missed? Or maybe it's that promotion you've worked so hard for that now feels empty. These moments are our signals, flashing brightly, telling us that our current mindset just isn't cutting it anymore. When you realize you need a change in mindset or an awareness for this change, you start to see the patterns of thought and behavior that got you here are the very ones holding you back. You understand that if you want to move forward, to truly grow and find real happiness, changing your mindset isn't just helpful, it's necessary. On a deeper level, this shift is about aligning your external life with your innermost values and dreams. It's about recognizing the gap between who you are and who you wish to be and feeling that constant unease and unfulfillment. Embracing this change means accepting that your worldview might be limited or skewed. It's challenging the beliefs and the narratives you've clung to about your identity, capabilities, and worth. These beliefs are deep-seated, shaped by years of experiences, societal expectations, and maybe even personal setbacks. One of the most important things I learned as I was working on accepting and embracing this much-needed change in my life was understanding that change is hardly ever linear. If anything, it's more cyclical. It's sort of like a software upgrade. You go in and find the bugs in the current software, find the solutions, and apply those solutions. These new improvements and bug fixes become your upgrade, but they don't replace the basic elements that form the foundation of that software. Now, I need you to understand that just because you've had enough and choose to pursue what's best for you doesn't mean everything will fall into place like a line of dominoes being knocked over. When I quit my position as a head coach, it didn't suddenly repair my neglected relationships. The truth of the matter is that I lost some of those relationships, despite my efforts to repair them. So, this awareness that leads to finding your happy is more about identifying the areas in your life that are lacking and less about discovering perfection. Understanding the need for change will empower you to take control of your happiness. Like software, you've got to keep improving and growing for the better because that is the essence of life. Recognizing the signs of dissatisfaction in your professional life. Back in 2013, a reputable weightlifting coach hired me as an assistant to improve his lightweights performance in the clean and jerk lift. Man, I had to step up when I was asked to take over him when he stepped down. This was very unexpected and it shifted my career at this point, especially when I had big shoes to fill and I wasn't sure if I could do the job to fill them. This sudden promotion was overwhelming enough. Little did I know just how quickly the season was going to sneak up on me. For 3 intense months, I poured every ounce of my being into this job. Fundraising, planning, practicing, and even studying the habits of other coaches and lifters became my daily routine. We went on to build what I like to call Marlin success, which we achieved through sweat and sacrifice. All of this indeed a sacrifice for me. On one hand, I was excelling as a coach, and on the other hand, I gave up friendships and family. I was hyper-focused on being the best and carrying that reputation we had built as champions. However, here's the truth. I didn't really love the sport. Despite winning a state championship, the sense of completeness and satisfaction I expected to feel never materialized. Instead, I was left with more questions and worry. Did our victory actually make a difference? Were we as special as we believed? How could we repeat our success? To make matters worse, I faced rejection and dejection from some players and parents who didn't believe in my leadership, as well as underhanded bullying and discrimination in my own community. After going on like this for some time, I finally reached a breaking point. Enough was enough. Despite being a state championship head coach with a promising roster, I made that difficult decision to walk away from it all. A scripture came to mind at this time, and it greatly encouraged me. John 16:33 says, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. This verse gave me confidence in my decision because truthfully, walking away when you've reached the top is not easy. Walking away from it all was not the sole catalyst for where I am today, but it's one of those several pivotal experiences that helped me become more aware of the need to confront my troubles, anxieties, and moments of despair, both personally and professionally. It taught me the importance of aligning my actions with the personal and professional choices I was making and seeking fulfillment beyond titles and accolades. Recognizing these signs of dissatisfaction in your professional life is often more subtle than we expect. It doesn't always come as a dramatic realization during a particularly bad day at work or a sudden desire to throw your computer out of the window. More often than not, it creeps up on you, manifesting in small, seemingly insignificant ways that over time accumulate into a persuasive sense of discontent. Sometimes it just begins with pressing the snooze button a couple of times in the morning. You find yourself taking any opportunity to delay getting your day started. The thought of answering all those unread emails, attending yet another meeting that could have been an email, or if you're in a profession like teaching, you find yourself dreading creating lesson plans. You promise yourself that it's just a phase, that everybody has days off, but those off days turn into weeks, and those weeks turn into months. Here's a quick survey to help you recognize your current career satisfaction level. On a scale of 1 to 5, with very satisfied being 5 and very dissatisfied being 1, check out that chart below and answer it for yourself. After you're done, how do you feel about seeing your score? Regardless of which category you fall under, this survey should make some important questions pop up to you. I will say it's not always a cut and dry epiphany. Sometimes the dissatisfaction gradually builds up until you wake up one day and realize you spent 15 years feeling that way. Here are some signs that may indicate you are no longer satisfied with your current career or workplace. Number 1, the lack of motivation. You no longer feel motivated to go to work, and the thought of starting your workday causes anxiety or dread. The task that you once found enjoyable now feels like a drag or overwhelms you. Number 2, frequent procrastination. You find yourself scrolling through social media more than usual, delaying tasks, and struggling to meet deadlines. Number 3, feeling stagnant. You feel like you're stuck in a rut with no opportunities for growth or advancement. Maybe you feel like your job just isn't challenging you anymore. Number 4, workplace-related stress or anxiety. You experience increased stress or anxiety thinking about work, even during your off hours. This often manifests as insomnia, irritability, or a sense of dread about the upcoming work week, etc. Number 5, decline in performance. Your job performance may start to suffer. You might make more mistakes than usual or find it hard to concentrate. This could also be the result of physical and emotional exhaustion. As someone in the education space, I know firsthand the emotional toll that teaching takes on a lot of teachers, especially given the low pay, work conditions, and even having to fund their own classroom supplies. How your mindset shapes your career. When we talk about boosting your professional satisfaction, it's easy to overlook your mindset. Whether you like it or not, your mindset is the lens through which you view your career landscape. This means that sometimes all you need to do is adjust your focus of the lens to change the clarity of the picture you see. In other words, your mindset plays a big role in your level of awareness. In 2006, a psychologist by the name of Carol Dweck released a book called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. And in this book, she presented 2 interesting concepts, growth mindset and fixed mindset. A growth mindset, in a nutshell, views talents, skills, and intelligence as traits that can be achieved if one puts in the effort. On the other hand, a fixed mindset believes that those traits are inherent and unchangeable. In other words, that what you've got is what you've got, and that's it. Let's break it down further. Like pre-installed software on a phone or computer with a rigid code. It dictates the belief that your intelligence, talents, and potential are fixed and unchangeable. This translates to seeing challenges as hurdles, but you feel like you're destined to trip over them anyway, and you don't even try or you don't even jump. For some people, it goes as far as viewing setbacks as reflections or your own inherent inadequacy, and the success as something reserved for certain people who look a certain way or have a certain qualifications. And staying with this analogy, it's like running outdated software on your device. Your potential will remain locked within the limitations of the software. If you ever owned an Apple product, you'll know how frustrating it can be when your perfectly functional device does not support the latest software updates. Now, when you look at growth mindset with this same analogy, it would be like an open source platform that constantly evolves. This would be you embracing the belief that your potential is boundless and that your career can go in any direction you please. Work hard and better yourself. Simply put, it's like having the latest Apple device that can support all the software updates for the next 10 years. The research has proven that people with a fixed mindset constantly feel like they have to work hard to prove something. They heavily rely on their intelligence and abilities to get them where they want to be, and when their environment requires more than just intelligence and abilities, they become vulnerable and feel distressed. I want you to grasp all of this so you can understand that your mind can be your own best friend or your worst critic and push you to lose awareness. So how does this mindware impact workplace satisfaction? Amongst other things, there are 4 points that I want to highlight. Number 1, learning and development. Do you cringe at training sessions because you're afraid they'll expose your limitations? Or are you excited to learn something new that can be added to your professional skill set? Number 2, activated creativity. Let's say you hit a roadblock on a project and don't know what to do next. Do you immediately get discouraged and get ready to throw in the towel? Or do you admit that you're stuck, ask for help, while also brainstorming other possible ways to solve your issue? Number 3, increase entrepreneurship behavior. Do you dream big, but settle for small? Save goals because you're afraid of failure? Or would you rather stick to a comfortable routine? Or do you step outside your comfort zone and set ambitious goals that honestly scare you a little? And number 4, positive organizational engagement. Do you find yourself feeling constantly competitive or defensive at work? Or do you celebrate your colleagues' success and choose to learn from them? I know this can feel like you're being called out, and it's very important that you discover which side of your mindset leans on. You may have already guessed it, but mine was more of a fixed mindset when I was coaching. And yes, I had a few growth mindset traits, but they were also largely fear-based. For the most part, I was in a constant mental competition with myself. As I said before, my mindset was I have to be the best. I have to maintain our spot as champions. And in doing so, I lost awareness of what I was truly feeling on the inside. My mental competition was so strong, it turned toxic. I couldn't recognize just how miserable I truly was and how miserable I was making the people who cared for me. So, when we talk about awareness in the context of workplace satisfaction, begin to think about how your mindset not only affects you within the 4 walls of your professional life, but it also bleeds into who you are when you clock out for the day and head home. Trust me, if you can't find your happy in your career, you will struggle to maintain your happy in your personal life.